This is lesson 9b, completing the square. So now I'm going to use this completing the square idea to convert this standard form into vertex form. Now, before I do that, I'm going to use my negative b over 2a to check it. So if I use negative b over 2a, well, b is 16, so I have negative 16 over 2 times a is 1, so 2 times 1 is 2, so negative 8. So negative 8 is going to be my h value. Now I'm going to use completing the square to prove that. So I'm going to take my b term, 16, I'm going to divide it by 2 and then square it. Okay, so I have 8 squared is going to give me 64. So I'm going to use my equation y equals x squared plus 16x plus 64. Now here's the deal. Remember, we have to keep our equation balanced. So if I add 64, I need to also subtract 64. That's just like 0, so it didn't really affect my equation. And then minus 7. So like on this one, we added 36 to both sides. I could have subtracted 36 from the left side. That would have worked as well. So now I'm going to factor this little piece. So I want factors of 64 that add up to 16. Well, 8 and 8 will do it. 8 times 8 gives me 64. 8 plus 8 gives me 16. So I can say x plus 8, x plus 8, and negative 64 minus 7 is negative 71. Now I have this, y equals x plus 8 squared minus 71. So this is vertex form. Okay, my a is 1, which we knew from this a is 1, so that turned out the same. My h is negative, right? Negative 8, and you can see that right in here. So my vertex is negative 8, negative 71. So you could write it in vertex form by either doing the negative b over 2a, but then you'd have to plug it in to find that negative 71, or you can complete the square. And that's what we're going to do on this one, practice completing the square, but you can use this to check your answer. What if we had just a generic form? So what I could do is I can take my b and divide it by 2 and square it. Just like we did. X squared plus bx, and then b divided by 2 squared. Remember, that's that technique. So we could add b divided by 2 squared, which means I would also subtract b minus 2 squared plus c. So now I can factor this. Y equals, and it's going to be x plus b over 2. And I can prove that using my table. B over 2 squared is what I want factors of, so b divided by 2 times b divided by 2 is b divided by 2 squared. And then our b term, well, b divided by 2 plus b divided by 2 is 2b over 2, which is just b. So that works as well. So you see where this comes from? And then this whole junk stays the same. So what this is showing us is that the vertex is negative b over 2, and then there's all this junk for our y value. Okay, this is something that we're starting to see again and again and again, that negative b over 2, the negative b over 2a, very close. The issue is that a value is 1, that a is going to come into effect later because it'll be negative b over 2a. All right, this should hopefully prove that this will always work.